Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope all of you are doing well. The incident I'm going to share today is something mysterious, something that none of us could ever understand. My dad's younger sister's family lived in a coffee estate. Their house was situated right in the middle of acres of coffee plantation. Initially, when she got married and went to her husband's house, it was time for harvesting the coffee beans and processing them. The harvested coffee beans are spread out on a huge concrete surface and left there to dry in the sun. They are raked and turned throughout the day to prevent them from spoiling. At night time, these coffee beans are covered with huge tarpaulin sheets to protect them from rain. But they were facing trouble. Every night, someone or something would pull the sheets here and there, spoil the seeds by either crushing them or stomping on them. So my uncle hired a night watchman to look after these seeds. The night watchman came for a few days and then he called and said he doesn't want to work there anymore because there was something terribly wrong in that place. There was something wandering about in those estates. My uncle laughed at this story and he told my aunt that they had to quickly find a new watchman. That day he was toiling away in the estate all day, so he was too tired to stay out himself. They had no one watching the coffee beans. He anyway decided to let it be, but my overcourageous aunt offered to stay up all night and watch the beans, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. And since these coffee beans were laid out just around their house, her husband told her to keep the door open. So in case if she needed help, they can hear her very clearly. So my aunt laid out a straw mat not too far from the front door. She took a few pillows and a book to read and a battery lamp. So she got comfortable there and she started reading the book. She didn't realize that it was almost midnight. She was lost in the book she was reading. And then suddenly she heard a faint sound far away. It sounded like footsteps on the tarpaulin. It was as if something was walking over it. Then at the very far end, she saw the sheets being pulled. She became alert and she turned out the battery lamp. She did not call for help because she wanted to sit there and catch the culprit. So she decided to sit in the dark and see who it was. Now she could see that the sheets were being pulled here and there. And what was footsteps earlier now turned into big leaps. It was as though something was jumping from one spot to the other, covering great distance. The sound started getting closer and closer to where she was sitting. And the last leap was heard very close to where she was sitting, as though it was just a few feet away. At this point, she really wanted to shout out for help, but she was frozen. She was still sitting there on the straw mat. Something was in front of her, not too far away, but still invisible to her eyes. Just few seconds later, she heard another leap, which was right beside her on her straw mat. She yelled out for help. She screamed so loud that it woke the entire family and everybody came out running. They saw nothing else. They just saw her sitting on a mat, shivering. She told the family what happened. It was hard to believe, but she was the second person who mentioned something similar. So my uncle took a few men and they went about in the estate looking for anything unusual or any clues that would lead them to what this was. But they found nothing. He, after that, hired 4 watchmen who stood there guarding the coffee beans for the next few nights. Very soon after that, the coffee beans were ready for milling. So the watchmen were not needed anymore. Life went back to normal. But my aunt told me that they could still hear some sounds every now and then, but no one dared to go out to see what it was. It went on for quite some time, a few months, and then it stopped. When it was time for the next coffee harvest, the family dreaded that it would come back and they were ready for it. But nothing came back. Till date, they wonder what it was, where it came from, or where it went. No one knows. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell button. We'll be back with more. Have a lovely day. Bye.